Max v Dane is still a thing, Craig. Very much the battle's still alive. Both goalkeepers will get a game over the next little while. That's no surprise either. I guess it's too soon to choose one or the other, but Jesse Marsch did once again reiterate that he needs to get a solution to this issue soon-ish rather than later-ish.
What, as far as the number one goes?
No, the number 3.
Oh, the number 3.
No, number 1. Of course, number 1.
Oh. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be the case.
You think it'd be a battle to the end? Like who's in form?
Club form is going to be a big part of it. There's a lot of football to be played before then.
But as a keeper, Craig, don't you want to know if you're number 1? Is that important? A few months out from a World Cup?
No, not necessarily. No, keep them guessing, keep them working hard, just working to be number 1. But there's I don't think that's a problem at all. If it goes right down to the wire, I have no issues with that.
It sounds though like Jesse Marsch himself or that technical staff have an approach where they think that solidifying a number 1 will help the team in its preparation, to help them understand roles and help the players who are going to be in front of whoever's named between the sticks to perform better, because there's that confidence and there's a certain predictability and you're relying on it. There's not a guessing game. It's already established, so you can prepare better. It seems to be the angle, at least, that Marsch is taking.
I would agree with that to a certain extent. But then what happens if that particular goalkeeper falls out of form? Then what?
So maybe you don't name him per se. Maybe just within the group, the coaching staff, and looking at the games coming up. I think there's 6 games or so, right, between now and the World Cup. If you use this window now to determine as a coaching staff who the number 1 is, you would want to start that guy, wouldn't you, in the remaining games leading up to the World Cup, rather than flip-flopping?
Yes.
I think Jesse should do broken telephone to both sides and say, "You're starting. You're not starting." And see what happens at the end. Whoever's starting at the end is decided by the last person.
Well, again, the vocal communication skills and training sessions will come in handy there, right?
Right.
The enunciation, because broken telephone is all about the enunciation. That's where it gets lost.
That's true.
Can you imagine, just hypothetically, just say they say Max is going to be the number 1 goalkeeper, although he's second best to Pantemis, who's a Canadian goalkeeper in Portland, who's not even getting a look in.
It's a great point, and it wasn't brought up in the press conference. I haven't heard Jesse even address it just yet. It's interesting that, Dubs, why Pantemis, who's clearly a good goalkeeper and is being outplaying Max, it seems, a lot this season and last season too, towards the end.
Yeah, and he hasn't really gotten a sniff since he went to Qatar as the 3rd goalkeeper, right? Because he was involved then, but has he been called into one camp, I believe, maybe still under Herdman before Marsch came in? It's a little bit of a mystery to me. We go back and check, but just the fact that he hasn't been included, that he seems to be firmly on the outside looking in. I know Gino's here. Right? Yep, Sirois been in it as well, and the dual citizen, Jaden Hibert apparently. So once you say that you're going to play for Canada, Hibbert changes from Hibbert to Hibert. There's a little bit more cachet to it, right? Like the French influence. But I think just to Forrest's point, just to wrap up on that, we can do all of this mental gymnastics and have this discourse and this debate on who's going to be number 1, and is Marsch going to settle on somebody and name them, whether it's internally or publicly is a very different thing, it should be said. But you can tie yourself in knots about that. But if, say, Dane's named as the number 1, and he goes out and he shits the bed in the first group game, Max, no matter what's happening at club, pulls on that Canadian kit and he performs for Canada, and he has the trust of the guys in front of him. So all of that gets thrown out, right? It's like a whole new ball game at that point. Not bald game, a ball game, because that's a different thing entirely, right? So I don't know. It's a lot is being made about not really nothing, because it's an important decision, but a lot will be decided when you're in kind of the throes of the tournament and the rhythm of the World Cup.
John Molinaro joins us of tscrepublic.ca.
Hello,
He was in the
John.
press conference. Hey,
Good morning.
JMO.
Hey, good
You were
morning.
in the presser this morning. It seems from the questions we heard from the gallery that goalkeeping seems to be the hot button topic right now, even more than central midfield and right back. It's kind of coming to the surface. What's your take on that situation right now?
It's a nice problem to have. I mean, when you have to choose between two, pretty qualified goalkeepers, I'm sure, like a lot of international managers or club managers would love to have such a problem. It's an interesting one. I don't think there's a clear number one. I think they both are quality goalkeepers. I think they both bring something a little bit different than the other. And it's going to be a tough decision for Jesse to make. From the sounds of it, from what he said this morning, it appears that he's going to sort of settle on a number one long before the World Cup. But as Amy said, what happens if the starter, whoever that might be, has a really poor game in that opening group stage match? Then the question becomes: does Jesse stick with that player, or does he go to the other guy? So it's really tightly contested, and I don't see either one as the clear number one. Do you know what I mean? I think you can make a strong case for either one. So I think this is going to be something that's going to come down right down to the wire.
Do you think there's potential for Pantemis to break into it? Because we're saying, he's keeping Max out of the team in Portland. He's not even getting a look in right now.
I don't think so, Craig. And I take your point about, how he's sort of getting regular playing time in Portland. But I think if Jesse was that sort of convinced that he could challenge for a number one spot, then he would be, in camp now, right? I mean, you have to remember, there's only 5 international windows between now and next summer. They're only going to play 10 games. So they have to, opportunities for the team to get together are, few and far between. And they really have to sort of squeeze as much juice as they can out of every time they get together. And the fact that, Pantemis isn't there right now, I think that says a lot about, his chances of, making the World Cup team.
Mm-hmm.
Is it 10 games, JMO? So it's 10, including the build up to the World Cup?
Yeah. So there's 5 international windows, right? So there's September, October, November, and then there's one in next March, and then one right before the World Cup in June. Mm. They're going to play 2 games in each of those international windows. So it's 10 games. Like, it's really not a lot of football when you think about it. It's a 9 month period time, right? So, like I said, opportunities for the team to get together are few and far between before the World Cup.
Which is the same for every team, right?
Sure.
So, I think that might become a bigger deal than it really is. It is what it is. It's international football, right? You don't get a hell of a lot of time together. And you take advantage of what you can. What Jesse also said during the press conference, Liam Miller is probably available for the next window, which is great news. Obviously, coming off that ACL from last season, he was playing so well. He mentioned Richie Larea, one of the most important personalities in the squad, and not to mention important players. And you brought up the question there, JMO, at the press conference, how well Richie's done amidst another poor TFC campaign. He's one of the shining lights. Every week, you know what you're going to get from Richie Larea, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I think what I've been particularly impressed this season with Richie is just his versatility. Toronto has dealt with sort of major issues defensively in terms of injuries, and he's had to play at center back, which isn't a spot that he's played all that much prior to this season. He played a little bit earlier in his career in Orlando, I believe, but it's relatively a new position to him. He's also played in central midfield at times, sort of shadowing the other team's main playmaker. I think of the game against Nashville in July, when he was sort of charged with he was trying to stop Hani Mukhtar, which is a pretty tough assignment. And he's really sort of taken on these roles, playing out of his natural position with a great deal of humility and with a great attitude. He hasn't sort of grumbled about it. He's just kind of gotten on with it. And I think he's really shown, to be a very versatile key player for Toronto FC in a lot of different ways. And he's still Richie, right? I mean, he's still that sort of guy who can sort of drive to the end line and make a dangerous cross, cut back cross. He's someone who's going to sort of agitate opposing players and really sort of draw fouls and just be that sort of pest, right? And I think, Canada can really benefit from a player like him in a lot of ways. I think they need players who have that sort of fearless attitude, who is not afraid to mix it up with other players on the other team, and really just sort of assert himself both physically and not back down, because it's the World Cup, right? You need a little bit of that sort of attitude and that swagger, and I think Richie is someone who can provide it for Canada in abundance.